Hello, hello. Hi, just stopping by briefly today. I'm gonna be a good boy and go to bed in timely fashion tonight. What time have you been going to bed lately? Yeah, I won't be streaming long today because I actually have to pop out when they lunch break today. I got some errands that I gotta run. Ooh, my package is out for delivery today. All right, guys. Hello, hello. How's it going today? Let's see. Let's hit the live. Oh, everyone's coming in. Good timing. Look at that. I think they started court early today, or I don't know. I thought they were gonna start court at 10:30 today, so I thought I had until probably like another 15 minutes of shit to do before I started my stream. But then I was like, oh wait, they started early today. I need to hop on soon. Hope you guys are doing well. 1:30. Oh no, 1:30 a.m. and then waking up at 5:55. You see, I'm too old for that shit. Too old. I need my sleep. I get really cranky. My sleep cycle gets really fucked up if I start fucking with it. So, I have a very delicate sleep cycle, unfortunately. Hey, Chunky, how are you doing today? Hello, hello. All right, guys, let's start today. Lori Vallow. We're live on both platforms. Let's start recording. I'm running out of space on my computer. I need to go through and start clearing everything again. All right, we got Court TV today. Thank you so much, Court TV, for the feed. All right, y'all. So day 4 of the Lori Vallow Daybell trial. This is for the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux. She tried to get her brother Alex Cox to murder Brandon Boudreaux as he was pulling up into the driveway or into, going into his house. Now, what's interesting about this case is that it seems like not a lot of people knew Brandon Boudreaux's schedule or his new address because he had just separated from his wife, Melanie. They had just officially divorced and they were living in separate areas. So he had been living this rental property for about a couple of days at this point, and only about 5 people knew what his new address was, including his ex-wife, Melanie. And additionally, Melanie knew that he would have the kids. Now he would have dropped off the kids at this point because he had the kids for a little bit. They were doing shared custody with Melanie, and he had just dropped the kids off at school. He had dropped off the youngest with her, and it's such a coincidence that the moment that he came back home from the gym after dropping the kids off, what happens? Someone shoots at him. So they are trying to convince the jury that Lori Vallow had a hand in this, that she got her brother to do this, and the brother drove Lori Vallow's own Jeep all the way from Idaho, Rexburg, Idaho, about 10, 11 hours drive to Arizona in order to try to kill Brandon Boudreaux. Now, Alex Cox is no longer alive. Alex Cox actually passed away about 2 months after this due to natural causes. And a lot of people are doing side eyes because, there are people around Lori Vallow that were just dying left and right. Her 2 children were murdered. Her husband was murdered. Tammy Daybell, who was Lori Vallow's new husband's wife, also died as well. So a lot of people were like, well, did they get rid of Alex Cox because he knew too much, or did he really die in the toilet of natural causes? I'm leaning more towards natural causes because that's all that we have so far. But yeah, it definitely looks very shady. Or maybe, maybe it's just some sort of divine justice. I wonder what Lori thinks about Alex's death. Truly. Hi, lady. Hi, Chunky. How are you doing today? So we're starting court today. Now, I do have to peace out when they break for lunch, or maybe a little bit earlier, because I do have some errands that I have to run. So we're going to continue the cross-examination of Detective Pillar. Now, the state has been going over the witnesses that, hey, you arrived at the scene. Did it look like a gunshot? Yes, it looks like the gunshot. There was damage to the car. Looks like a gunshot. I've seen, many gunshots before, and the damage looks pretty consistent. Now, the reason why they keep reiterating this over and over again is because Lori Vallow is, she's getting at, well, how do you know it's a gunshot? Did you find a casing of this? You didn't find a case. Oh, you didn't find a casing? Okay, I mean, it could have been something else that done this damage to the car, right? It could have been a kid with a paintball gun, maybe a tire iron. Oh, like the glass that you found in the street. Well, how do you know it actually came from the Tesla? Did you actually test the glass? Did you actually test the fragments? It was from the Tesla, or if it's from the glass window. So, or if it's from like the bullet. So, it's kind of clear that Lori Vallow is trying to aim at like, oh, how do we know that someone actually shot at Brandon Boudreaux and it wasn't some other damage? So, we're going to continue with the cross-examination of Detective Pillar. And honestly, Lori Vallow's cross-examinations are... they're quite odd, I think, in my opinion. I don't know what she's trying to do. It seems like she's just asking questions and telling the witness to reiterate what they said in direct, going over what they do, going over what they saw, going over their findings. And usually when someone cross-examines and does that, it's because they're trying to make a point, and then they'll ask a question was like, boom, you didn't do this. Boom, you didn't do that. But with Lori Vallow, like I said, it's just not landing very well. She's just kind of like asking like, it just seems like inconsequential questions like, oh, what was a crime scene person wearing that day? Oh, okay. Did you guys fly together? Oh, so what airport did you fly at? Oh, okay. And then she just jumps to a different question. I'm just like, where the fuck are we going with this? Oh boy. And it's not like the state's even objecting that much. It's not like this, Lori has a line of questioning and then it's being interrupted by the state. The state is objecting here and there, for hearsay and stuff like that, maybe foundation. But Lori Vallow, I just don't think she knows what the fuck she's doing. And I think it shows. All right, y'all. Let's get into this. Judge is here. We have Trina's here. Lori's here. Apparently, I think there's Brandon Boudreaux. I think his wife. Kay Woodcock is somewhere there. And then Nancy Jo Hancock, I think that's her name, if I got it correctly, is also in the courtroom again today. Again, she was the one that last saw Charles Vallow, who was Lori Vallow's husband at the time. They went on a date before he was eventually murdered the next day. All right, let's get started. How's everyone doing today, by the way? How are you guys? Hello, hello. Lori's got the Shih Tzu hair today. Let me make sure my audio's good. We'll jump around a bit. Lori's going to continue her cross-examination.
Please be seated.
I have a feeling we might get an audio blast from Court TV, so just a heads up, y'all.
You can continue with your cross-examination of this witness. Go ahead.
It's really low right now.
Detective Pillar, yesterday.
Okay, so I'm gonna up the audio, but I think Court TV will probably boost it themselves. FYI.
Yesterday we were speaking of your interview with Brandon in the car, and you said it was about 25 to 30 minutes. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
And that you audio recorded it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And at the end of that interview, you admonished Brandon to not contact Melanie. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no body cam or anything like that. It wasn't quite as popular back then, he said, but they did have it. But they did the audio recording, and I don't know if they played that in court yet. I don't think they played it in court. Did they? Did they play in court in direct examination? Maybe.
Correct.
There were phone calls attempted to be made to Melanie. And then after that, I encouraged him to not answer and to simply contact me if she were to contact him.
And what do you mean by the phone calls?
We tried to contact her to get her side of the story early on in the investigation, since that was the one name that he most recently had a recent relationship falling out with.
So who tried to contact her, and when was that? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It was during the interview in the car before I returned back to the crime scene. Brandon and I discussed what we had, and I gathered that information. We knew that one of his...
Oh, nice. I just finished mowing the lawn. It's so nice today. What's the temperature over there in Arizona? It's been hot in LA. Ugh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want cloudy days, man. Cloudy days. I don't want like straight sun beaming on me. Like, just too fucking hot. Hey, Morden. We're here. How are you doing today? How's it going, y'all? Hello, hello.
Brandon and I discussed what we had, and I gathered that information. We knew that one of his children was with his soon-to-be ex-wife, and we knew where the other 3 children were. We, at this point, did not know the full circumstances surrounding the shooting. So it was important to reach out to her, let her, Melanie know, hey, there was a shooting that just occurred, and speak with her.
So who ended up calling her? You called her, or Brandon called her?
Brandon called her from his phone 3 separate times.
And she didn't answer?
No.
But you didn't attempt to call her directly?
Not during that time, no.
Okay. And so as far as you know, Brandon followed that admonition to not contact her again that day.
Hi, Shaniqua.
Yes, as we also had his phone, so
Oh, that's right.
that made it so he couldn't.
Okay, and
That
so,
wasn't the purpose, but
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
we had his phone. So.
That's Lori. It's like, Lori, were you paying attention in direct examination? Like, damn. I know I was kind of spotty, okay? I was a little bit spotty because I was doing my Amazon returns here and there, mostly during cross-examination. But I was also a little bit spotty, too, because, you know, I had some errands to run. I dipped out early here and there. But, like, girl, you've been sitting there the entire time.
so did you end up making contact with Melanie?
I made contact telephonically with Melanie Boudreau at the time, now Pulowski. And yes, I was able to make contact with her.
Wait, you're in Ohio now. Wait, was I confused? Did you move again? I think I am confused. Have you been in Ohio this entire time? It's 74, partly cloudy and breezy. Oh, that sounds amazing. Wait, Ohio weather sounds way better than Arizona. I think I was just confused because I remember you moved, I don't know, it's probably been a while now. A couple months, half a year, maybe 9 months ago. And I just assumed it was like still in Arizona. Yeah, I must be confused. I could have sworn you were making your way over to the West Coast, though. How'd you get all the way to Ohio? Wait, OH is Ohio. Wait, what is OH? OH is Ohio, right? You've been in Ohio for like 3 years. Hold on, it's like I thought you were in Arizona this entire time. For some reason, I thought you're slowly making your way over to the West Coast. Oh gosh, don't mind me.
Was that still on October 2nd, or was that the next day?
I left a message for her. I don't remember when I spoke with her specifically, but she agreed to meet with me on October 3rd, which was the following day after the shooting.
And that was at the Gilbert Police Department?
Gilbert Police Department in a private interview room, yes.
Oh, do we have a recording of that, of her interview? Has anyone in chat ever seen it?
Okay.
Oh, you try to go back. Okay, gotcha, but it didn't pan out. Okay, because like, wait, where did I get that idea from? I swear to God, I didn't just make that shit up.
And so Melanie came and met you that day on October 3rd, is that correct?
Yes.
And you interviewed her,
Yes.
and she came in voluntarily
Yes.
and talked to you?
Yes.
And did she ask for an attorney?
No.
And about how long was that interview, do you think?
Now, remember, Lori said that she wasn't going to try to point the finger at Melanie, but I felt like she was trying to go in that direction, okay? I feel like she was trying to say that, oh, well, it wasn't me, you know? Maybe it was Melanie. Melanie had a financial benefit if you died.
Approximately 1 hour. It was a little interrupted because their youngest was with them in the room. She didn't have childcare at that time, but I believe the interview lasted for about an hour.
Okay. And did she advise you in that interview of some
Object
business
hearsay.
deals that
I'm gonna
Brandon
object
was involved in?
again to
The
hearsay.
objections to
Damn, she's just talking over Miss Trina over there, okay? I know you hear Trina. Trina's behind you. Stop acting like you don't hear her. She's like, I just keep talking.
the stand, it's hearsay.
Did you investigate anything that you learned during that interview?
Yes.
Did you investigate anything that Melanie offered to you during that interview?
Cheryl says hi.
Can you be more specific about what was offered?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, she's shuffling her papers
If you're
right
gonna offer a
now.
hearsay statement, if there, maybe have him review something that you want him to consider, if you have a written copy.
Okay. Maybe a better question is, did you follow up with anything that you learned during that interview with Melanie?
Yes.
And did you talk to her again after that 1 hour long interview?
I did speak with her again, yes.
On the phone or in person?
The next time I had any communication with Melanie was on October 14th, so a few days after our in-person interview.
Okay, and did she contact you?
She did contact me.
And she was coming to you for help?
She was reaching out regarding some custodial issues.
She thought you might be able to help her, is that correct?
She was seeking some advice, yes.
Custodial issues.
So Brandon had testified that he provided you with a VIN number to a Jeep Wrangler in my household on October 2nd, 2019, is that correct?
That is correct that he testified to that, yes.
And did he do that? Did he provide you with that VIN number?
I do not remember that. I do not recall being provided a VIN number. There was a lot that happened early in the investigation. I can tell you that we got the license plate for the Texas Jeep early on in our investigation, which when running a license plate, we also received the VIN number, but I do not remember specifically getting the VIN number from Mr. Boudreau.
So where did you get the license plate number from?
From the Chandler photographs, from their incident in
So
July.
after, like yesterday, you contacted Chandler and that's where you got those from?
The images with the license plate, yes.
And what day was that you contacted Chandler in October?
When I contacted them, I can't testify to that, but I do know that I physically met with them on October 9th of
Hi, Wayne. How are you doing today? All right. So the jury's hearing about Chandler, the incident in July. They don't know what exactly happened. They're not supposed to know, but you know, they know that Lori's tied to something else that's happening in Chandler. I'm sure after this trial, they'll look it up and they'll be like, oh shit, she fucking murdered her husband. God damn. Oh, what's up, Rain? How are you doing today? Hello, hello.
2019.
Okay. So your testimony here today is that you did not discover that the Jeep was gray in my household because of the VIN number that Brandon provided to you. Would that be fair?
Yes, that would be fair.
But you did discover it on October 9th that there was a gray Jeep in my household. Would that be fair?
Yes,
Okay. Would it also be fair to say that no one that you interviewed or talked to mentioned anything about the Jeep being gray?
the color of it being gray, no,
Okay.
not early in the investigation.
Did you search for a green Jeep with Texas plates on it?
No, there was never a green Jeep specifically searched for with a Texas license plate. That would be something we would farm out to our investigators, our civilian investigators, and to specifically ask for a green Jeep Wrangler with a Texas license plate. I don't know what that would yield as far as results, and we didn't have enough to go after just that at that moment.
Okay. And you didn't farm that out, though. Is that correct?
At that juncture, no.
Did anyone ever verify that Brandon did say puke green? Because I felt like she kept asking everyone about the puke green thing, and then everyone's like, no, I don't see puke green. Or did I just like miss it?
And did you search for a dark blue Jeep with Texas plates on it with a tire on the back?
Same answer, or similar answer to what I just provided.
Detective Miller, how often or how many times would you say that you have communicated with Brandon Boudreaux in the past 5.5 years?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to asked and answered as well as potential 404B issues.
I think she asked Mr. Boudreau those
Okay.
questions. I'll allow it, but
I don't know if you can hear Trina K, but she says potential 404B issues. Her microphone's kind of a little bit low over there. Can you guys hear the audio okay? Do we need to boost it up a little bit more?
be aware of the issues, please, that you could be opening. Go ahead.
Multiple times. I have spoken with Mr. Boudreau multiple times.
And would you say multiple emails back and forth?
The majority of communication was either telephonic or text message. However, I do know there were emails exchanged as well.
I'm going to hand you what is proposed Exhibit 192 from the defense. Detective Pillar, do you recognize this email?
It appears to be an email that would be exchanged from Mr. Boudreau to myself within my police department email.
And that's something to and from him to you and to you from him?
In this example you provided, yes, I don't know how long the message thread was for this.
Okay. And you recognize that as a true and correct copy of that email exchange?
Yes, from February 12th of 2020.
The defense would move to publish the email?
State would object. We're going to go into
We
that.
already discussed this exhibit. I'll sustain the objection. It's not being entered into evidence.
In that email, Detective, did you request that Brandon provide you with financial information regarding his ex-wife, Melanie Boudreau?
And Your Honor, I'm going to ask to sidebar again regarding defenses.
All right.
All right, they're going into sidebar. I don't know, man. I'm saying, I think she's trying to point the finger at Melanie. I think we could forward through this sidebar. Sidebar music! Everyone's at the call center right now. Laura's like a moth with a flame. All the old buddies are showing up. They're here to see her burn.
Detective Pillar, did you request that financial information regarding Melanie from Brandon?
Yes,
And did he provide you with that information?
yes,
And did he provide you with financial documents you requested in another email?
I know we've discussed financial documents, and everything I was sent, I believe, was via email, but I don't know what specific one you may be referring to, but I think it's safe to say, yes, that there were emails exchanged about Melanie Boudreau Pulowski's financial records being sent to me.
Right. So her financial gain if something were to happen to Brandon, is that correct?
That is correct.
So he also provided you with screenshots
Yes,
of
Cheryl?
information regarding Melanie that didn't have to do with finances, is that all?
I would want to look her up if I was on her jury. Yeah, I'm sure they did. They were like, oh shit, this is the lady that did this and this and that. Like, oh my God, wild.
Also correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to object again and warn on 404A and 405.
Sustained.
I'm going to bump it up just a
Did
little
you
bit.
read those documents when they were sent to you?
I reviewed the documents that were sent to me, yes.
And did you include those in part of your investigation?
They are included in an investigation, yes.
So on those screenshots, does Melanie give a theory of what she thinks happened on October 2nd, 2019, that you reviewed?
Not that I remember from that exchange. I'd have to see it, which
Your Honor, I'm going to object to hearsay and relevance.
I'm not asking for the truth of the matter, I just want to know what
Hold
he
on,
knows.
I didn't ask for argument. You can show him the document and then rephrase your question.
Okay. That you reviewed.
Hey, Nick.
it
we
doesn't have any
mismatch.
email headings
Can we see the emails? I'm nosy.
or footers on it. This is what appears to be a Word document, like from Microsoft Word. I can't testify that this is exactly what he sent me, if this is a attachment to the email, from what I'm looking at here.
Okay. Do you recognize it as something that you've read before? The information?
I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm simply
Sure.
reviewing what I can to
Sure.
see if
Take
it's
your time.
judging.
I'm going to forward through this. Why is there always someone stomping around in the courtroom? I think it's like the floor and then plus the microphone's just picking it up. I don't think they're like purposely stomping. You know how like, have you ever lived in an apartment before and then you have neighbors above you? It sounds like they're like fucking stomping on the damn ground, but literally they're just like walking and like the floor is just like really hollow. Or like if you have a 2-story home, right? Same thing. It sounds like someone's like stomping upstairs, but really it's just that it's just the way like if you don't have like carpet floors to dampen the sound, or if it's just like hard floors up there. Can someone explain what 404 and 405 is? I know 404B is character evidence. I'll look it up really quick since we're waiting for this detective. Because I remember Trina also objected for 404 and 405 as well. My notes somewhere, but
I must say that I don't remember this. There was a lot of correspondence shared and a lot of images. But looking at this seems familiar with some of the allegations that I've heard throughout the investigation. However, I don't remember this specific document being sent to me.
So when you requested Brandon Boudreau on this date to send you these documents, that is part of the 7 screenshots that he sent to you.
Okay.
So my question is, during that time, you were still gathering information, right?
Yes.
You were still looking at all possibilities of what really happened on that day, right?
Now I'm going to object to what time period are we talking about? February? What's
405 methods of proving character. So there's 2 different categories: by reputation or opinion. When evidence of a person's character or character trait is admissible, it may be proved by testimony about the person's reputation or by testimony in form of an opinion. On cross-examination of a character witness, the court may allow an inquiry into relevant specific instances about a person's conduct. B, by specific instances of conduct. When a person's character or character trait is an essential element of a charge, claim, or defense, or pursuant to Rule 404C, the character or trait may also be proved by relevant specific instances of a person's conduct.
Is there a
Yeah,
date
can
on
you
there?
clarify the time period?
Foundation.
Is it the February
12th,
email? February
yes.
12th. All right, so rephrase the question with that in it.
So my question is, did you ever read the information?
And then Rule 404, character evidence not as admissible to prove conduct, exceptions, other crimes, wrongs, etc. So the one that we've been focusing on is Rule 404B, which is other crimes, wrongs, or acts, because for Lori's Vallow scenario is it would be too prejudicial to bring in all the other shit that she's been involved in. So bringing up the children being murdered, Charles Vallow being murdered as well into this trial, because if the jury learns about that, then, you know, they could just automatically just think that she's guilty because she's committed crimes in other cases.
In that screenshot that you have there before?
It is possible. If it was sent to me in an email, I likely read it, yes. But there was, at the point of February 12th of 2020, there were other investigations I was working on as well.
So did you disregard the information in that during your investigation?
I'm going to object, and I think we may need to sidebar again.
Yeah, let's sidebar.
Hey, Ria, how's it going? How are you doing today? Hello, hello. Yeah, 404B, I definitely remember because that also came up in Corey Richins as well. Because Corey Richins, the state believed that she tried to attempt to poison her husband before he actually was murdered, and they kept wanting to bring that in, and they were fighting about that in the courtroom. That's why like 404B always stands out to me. All the other shit I gotta look up. How's your day going? Hello, hello. Good morning, Oahu. How are you doing today? Whew, lots of sidebars today. Let me pull up X. See if Nate Eaton has any observations in the courtroom that we can't see. Oh, we're taking off the headphones. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. And yes, I'm not verified yet. Ooh! Wait, what is this? Tammy Daybell's cousin is attending the trial today. She bought these cookies with a message printed on the wrapper. I want some cookies. These look really good. While Lori is serving life with her green chili guilt enchiladas, Chad's on death row, still talking about a storm that hit more like a drizzle. Please enjoy this cookie that tastes like freedom. Oh my goodness. I want a cookie. I love cookies. Judge Boreski's on the bench. Lori and her team are at the defense table. Prosecution is at their table. Judge says we'll proceed with Detective Pillar on the witness stand. Lori doing her cross-examination. I want to see if there's anything wrong with the anything about the sidebars. Financial document. Lori. Not as many people attending the trial today. There are about like 15 to 20 empty seats in the courtroom. God damn. Brandon and his wife are here with the family members and Kay with friends. Kay Wilcox also here. Yeah, because they're probably like Lori Vallow's cross-examinations are kind of a snoozy. Sidebar is over. Lori's consulting with her advisory attorney. More questioning. Lori's paralegal just walked in. Cross-examination. Oh god, we're gonna get into like the glasses again. All right. More sidebar stuff. Okay, let's go back. Lots of sidebars today. Doing well? You just working and lurking? What time do you get off work today? Soon, hopefully? Oh, he's in my room right now, but he wants to get out because he can hear my husband eating lunch downstairs. He's like, I want out. But then the moment I let him out, he'll hang around for like 5 minutes and he's like, oh, I want to go back into the streaming room. So I'm like, okay, you're just trapped with me right now, Jiro. Okay, if it's sped up.
The Tesla, the glass from the
With the
Hi, Shanzo. I missed a question.
Tesla for a second.
Back to the Tesla. So you didn't test the glass, did you? The glass could be from the Coke bottle that was kicked by Brandon or the kid or Brandon's friends. You didn't secure the crime scene, did you?
What happened with the Tesla window? I know it fell out of the car and was sitting on the driveway. So where did it go from there?
It was probably collected.
The Tesla, the glass from the window that fell out of the Tesla itself was discarded,
Was what?
thrown away. It was discarded.
Oh, it was thrown away.
Yes.
And when did that happen?
I don't recall. I believe after we were concluding our time at the scene, we had our photographs of it, was turned over to the resident, in that case, Mr. Boudreau, to dispose of.
Okay. And it wasn't preserved for any reason?
No.
Why not?
We collected what we needed from it at that moment, and the amount of glass that was there in the images that
Your birds are napping right now. It's hard being an executive producer. He just wants to get out, but he's gonna want to come back in. Hi, Aaron. How are you doing today? Hello, hello.
were taken seemed sufficient at the time, and so it was simply thrown away.
Was there a hole in that window at all? Like a bullet hole?
A bullet hole through the window outside of the images that have been presented that
They already talked about this. There was that little divot thing. There's like a little like semi half circle. So they think that's where like the bullet could have hit.
would indicate where an impact point may have been, so kind of the curvature towards the top of the glass. Outside of that, no, there was no other damage that would match about a bullet hole.
Okay. And you didn't carefully put on 2 pairs of gloves and take it to the evidence room at the Gilbert Police Department, is that correct?
Take the glass?
Correct.
That's correct.
And what about the Tesla? So what happened to the Tesla that day?
After we processed the
Impounded it?
Tesla at the scene, we transported it over to the Gilbert Police Department to further inspect indoors. Essentially, it was just one.
They're adorable. They love to take 3 to 4 naps. Do they nap standing up? How do they nap? Like they probably just like are perched up and they just like sleep like this, right?
More act that we could take to better review what we had investigated for the hours that we were outside.
And was it like towed? Do you tow it over?
No, it was, although unorthodox, it was transported by myself and followed by Detective McDermott to the property and evidence building where we had a technician standing by. Once arrival to the garage at that facility, we further looked into the hole, the bullet hole, and we weren't there very long. It was, again, another last review of the damage.
So you drove it over, is that correct?
That is correct.
And it was photographed?
Yes, we photographed the vehicle at the scene. Once at the police department, we have the surveillance cameras, but we didn't photograph it further once at the police department. We had no intention of impounding it at that time.
And it was measured?
No, the
The
bullet
hole and things were measured? All that was done at the scene, but nothing was done at the Gilbert Police Department?
Yes,
And then it wasn't tested for the trajectory while at the Gilbert Police Department?
that's correct.
And it wasn't placed into evidence?
We did not impound the vehicle. The purpose for that was it was the victim's only vehicle at that time, similar to the the smartphone that we took temporary custody of. For convenience purposes, it was ultimately turned back over to the owner, in this case, Mr. Boudreau, both the vehicle and the smartphone.
Within a day?
Yes, approximately a day. It was a very brief period of time.
Okay. And having been a case agent hundreds of times, you must have known that if you were ever going to charge someone with this crime, then surely you would need this evidence so the defense could hire their own experts to do testing of the car and the window, right?
I mean, were you planning on doing that? Did you even do that, though, Lori? Are you going to call anyone to testify, actually?
The crime of this caliber, and it's not uncommon for cases to develop into something more than what you initially believe, which is that's part of being human, part of being an investigator. We did not take the vehicle in this case. We did not have a decedent. In other words, we did not have a person who was injured or killed. We had property damage, and we were still very early in our investigation to determine what happened. So, no, we did not maintain custody of that vehicle.
So is it not in your protocol to preserve evidence,
It's in our protocol to preserve evidence.
but not in this case?
In this case, I made the decision not to maintain custody of that Tesla.
So without this evidence available, how would my experts be able to test for trajectory?
We couldn't test for trajectory with what we had. If it was here today,
Oh, that was the other thing, too. That's right. So, again, her leading back to how do you know this was actually an attempted shooting? Did you calculate the trajectory from the Tesla? Did you calculate how someone could have shot from the Jeep and hit on the window, whatever? And they're like, no, we didn't calculate that. No. So that was another thing that she kept kind of harping on. Hi, Candace. How are you doing today? Hello, nerdy nieces here. What's going on? They perch and they twist their heads. Oh, to rest their faces in their wings. Oh, puppies.
it's possible that you guys could test for trajectory with the advancements in technology. Again, not being somebody who is trained or certified in any type of trajectory training, I don't know how that process would even look, but we simply don't have the vehicle today as we're discussing this.
And you don't have an expert at Gilbert Police Department that's an expert in trajectory?
At that time, we did not.
Okay. And how would my ballistics expert be able to test the hole in the Tesla to determine, in fact, if it was a rifle or a handgun that was used? How would I do that now?
That's a you question. I don't know. You tell me.
How would you go about?
How would I have an expert do that now?
You would hire somebody who would potentially be a specialist in this area and see if they had the ability to obtain evidence of trajectory. But how would you do that now outside of hiring somebody and doing that without the vehicle? I suppose you could not.
Good luck.
Is it possible to perform our own tests from pictures?
Tests? No.
And did you request any tests be performed on the Tesla itself?
Outside of trying to obtain the surveillance footage and do our best that we could with what we had for the bullet hole itself, no additional tests were made.
And no testing was done with the window either, is that correct?
You're referring to the glass that was?
Yes, the glass.
No other tests were done with the glass.
Hey, Mama Bear.
And how about the 4 pieces of the projectile that were found? Were any of those tested?
Tested for?
For what kind of bullet they came from, or what kind of gun they came from?
Again, not being a munitions expert, but seeing what bullet fragments look like and what projectiles can turn into upon impact.
Oh my God, I hate Umbridge from Harry Potter. That's why I refuse to watch. Is it number 6? I fucking hated her so much. Ugh.
Those fragments could not determine any type of rifling, which is the marks that are made within a barrel when a weapon is shot, because the bullet was not intact, and we had no casing. We had no gun to verify where it came from. We simply had some markings of some possible jacketing and the lead, which appeared consistent with a bullet that was fired and then, of course, was fragmented. We were satisfied that we had a individual get shot at by some firearm, be it rifle, handgun, but a firearm.
From a puke green Jeep.
eastbound to westbound that collided and then ultimately ended up in Mr. Boudreau's body frame. But to send it off for further testing, no, we did not send it off for further testing based on any reason that we knew we would not be able to get any viable weapon to compare it to, or any type of rifling where that would match another firearm.
Well, would it make a big difference if it wasn't a rifle at all and what Mr. Boudreau saw was a rifle?
What?
Can you rephrase that question?
So if you were to test it and someone to say, this came from a handgun, this did not come from a rifle, that would make a big difference in the story that Mr. Boudreau told to you, though, right?
No,
It would not.
no.
So he did not see a handgun, but if it came from a handgun, that would be contradictory, would it not?
To his statement of believing it was a rifle,
Correct.
his belief in mere observation for those split seconds of a weapon
Yeah, it happened so quickly. Even if he misremembered, I mean, I think a jury could understand that, like, oh, it happened so quickly, like it's possible he couldn't really like see. I think it can go either way.
firing at him, I can't say for certain if it would have been from a handgun or a rifle. If we had an intact projectile or a shell casing, we'd have an answer to that. What we have now are bullet fragments and a bullet hole, and evidence to indicate that this happened. This shooting at Mr. Boudreau did in fact occur.
But you didn't test it.
The fragments were not tested.
Now, Detective Pillar, how many neighbors confirmed that they heard a gunshot?
Hearing a loud bang or hearing a gunshot, approximately 4, 5.
4. Do you know who those were? Who those neighbors were?
I wonder if that's the answer that she was anticipating. Oh shit, you have 4 or 5 people? God damn, who are those 4 or 5 people?
Not off the top of my head, from my memory.
Was that in one of your reports, that 4 neighbors heard a gunshot?
In my report, I documented the detectives who made contact with neighbors that either heard something or had electronic surveillance on their house that, although did not capture footage of the incident, captured.
And a lot of times, if you hear a loud bang, a lot of people just think it's like, oh, maybe it was a transformer that went out. Maybe it was a car that backfired. Maybe it's like, I don't know, some random shit that happened around in the neighborhood. And you're just like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Might not be a gunfire.
Captured consistent noise of a loud bang, as well as a vehicle idling for an extended period of time near their residence, which is near where the Jeep would have been parked prior to Mr. Boudreau arriving and then upon his arrival. But it just captured audio with no, again, once.
Yeah, that's a huge one in my neighborhood. Fucking fireworks, dude. I fucking hate that shit. Hi, Tamia. How are you doing today? How's it going?
No, once again, no.
It'd be hilarious if she somehow found not guilty because she still had probably served 3 consecutive life sentences plus 20 plus for Chad's murder plot. Anyways, not Chad, the other one. Charles Vallow? I can't remember her second to last husband's name. Charles Vallow. Yeah, it gets confusing because it's both CH, I guess. Chad, Charles. It's all good. It's all good.
No footage of the actual shooting.
I kept getting it mixed up too.
But
Can we all agree the Dursleys were the real villains of Harry Potter? I still don't understand why Dumbledore would leave Harry Potter there in an abusive family. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. Same. I really hate fireworks. Yep. I poured dog shakes for a long time. Yeah. I fucking hate fireworks too. I wish we could just like stop doing fireworks and then just do like the really cool, like the laser technology shit, you know? Like fireworks, they're just so boring. I don't know. Even as a kid, like fireworks were just like, oh, cool. You see it once or maybe twice and you thought it was cool. And then afterwards, just kind of like, I don't know, lame. I'm there with you.
you say multiple neighbors. Is that what your understanding was? That multiple neighbors heard a loud noise?
Yes.
So Brandon heard a loud noise. You have the ring that was a loud noise, right? Who else?
I don't know if
No, Charles is also the name of Jodie Hildebrand's Lion in Heaven. No, wait, was it? No. I remember hearing about Jodie Hildebrand's, like, yeah, the lion vision dream that she had or whatever. I don't know if it was ever named, though.
off the top of my head.
Could it be that there was no one else, just those 2?
There were other neighbors that acknowledged hearing a noise. That was a loud noise. That was not a normal noise.
Were those across the street neighbors, neighbors on the other side?
I would have to refer to the detectives who interviewed individuals who said they heard something. And those detectives notated the addresses in which they heard a noise. When I say multiple, clearly, I mean more than one person heard.
So 2 is multiple in your book. Is that correct?
In this case, we have more than 2 that have testified, but there are others that made.
More than 2 people have testified here that they heard a loud noise?
Yes.
And who would those be?
We have the neighbor with the Ring camera, and I forget her name, I apologize. And then we have Mr. Boudreau, who heard that.
The neighbor with the Ring camera, she already testified. I knew her name, but I forgot to. Sorry.
And then we had, those are the 2 that we had so far with the loud noise and the consistent evidence.
So you would consider that multiple people. Is that correct?
But there are others within the report that acknowledge hearing the noise, yes.
Not in any report that I read, in a report that you read?
Object to testifying and
Sustained.
asked and answered argumentative.
That's the objection sustained.
Hey, Lori. You should testify in this case. Do it, Lori. You know you want to. Do it. Testify. Go up there and give us a narrative.
In a sworn statement that you made, Detective, you put the other neighbors confirmed they observed a gray-colored hardtop 2-door Jeep. What neighbors do you know of that said that there was a gray Jeep?
Where was that testimony?
So, in your affidavit, on November 19th regarding the Jeep Wrangler, would you like to take a look?
Sure.
Okay.
Yesterday, we did read the appeal that her team filed yesterday for Idaho. It's about 71 pages, and I just read the timeline. And how much should we get into it? Because I didn't get to finish it because we had to go back into the court. But they did file an appeal for the Idaho verdict. Her tone of voice is very condescending. Talking down the witness as an expert. She's so gross. She's got like this, like, I don't know. It's like a weird, like, whiny, baby, soft. And you can hear the condescension as well. Condescension, right? Is that right? Condescension? Hold on. Condescension.
Okay, yes, I see where this is in the affidavit.
And earlier you had testified that no one had said the Jeep was gray at all, but in your sworn testimony there, you say that other neighbors confirmed that they observed a gray-colored, hardtop, 2-door Jeep. What neighbors would those be?
And this is the probable cause statement from,
For the infotainment center?
yeah, for the infotainment center, but on what date?
November 19th? 2019?
November 19th, 2019? Okay, so I don't recall who specifically said that they saw the gray-colored hardtop 2-door Jeep. It was, however, at this juncture that I do know that that was the vehicle we were looking at from the photographs and from the LPR hits.
It was an alleged vehicle, but that was not the vehicle that the neighbors described to you. Is that correct?
I did not have any vehicles described to me by a neighbor specifically, no.
So you swore that in your statement to take out that infotainment center to that 2-door gray hardtop Jeep, right? You're the police officer. You're asking for a warrant to do this because this is your probable cause. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're saying in that
And it's like she's getting so fiery, but the witnesses on the stand have been so calm so far in answering her questions that they don't seem evasive. It just seems like she's just getting fiery for no reason. And then the jury is probably just like, okay, woman, like, chill out.
neighbors confirmed that they saw a gray-colored hardtop 2-door Jeep, but that was not true.
Suppose the one word that I could exchange from anything is a dark-colored hardtop 2-door Jeep. But at this point in my investigation, I had confirmed that it was a gray-colored 2-door Jeep.
She's saying he's lying in his affidavit. How's the corgi? He's doing good. She was sleeping. He's here. All right. Did Lori lose her steam?
Actually, you might want to hold on to that one. I'll wait.
Lori had some steam for a second there. It might have chilled out now. Didn't Chad Daybell compare himself to Harry Potter having to live with the dirt? Wait, what?
There's something else in this affidavit that I'd like you to look.
Is Chad trying to say that he was also in an abusive household when he was growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I literally just watched a video explaining that. They had to leave Harry with the Dursleys because the protective charm his mother put on him would only work if he lived with a blood relative. That's right. Yeah. Wait, but then what about when Harry Potter is in fucking school, when he's at Hogwarts? Can he leave the aunt because he's at Hogwarts and he's protected by Dumbledore at Hogwarts? Couldn't Dumbledore just raise him at Hogwarts? Is that too much? Okay. Give him like a little Hagrid house, you know, on the property of Hogwarts.
If I can know what page you're showing him.
2714.
Thank you.
It is this last paragraph, correct? Ms. Daybell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me just review
Just
it
the
real quick.
just the first underlined.
The first
part
underlined? Okay.
of that paragraph.
I think he's protected by the Hogwarts barrier while he's at Hogwarts. Right. Like, why not just have Harry Potter live like on the grounds where Hagrid was, which is still in the Hogwarts barrier? That way he didn't have to live with these like abusive fucking people for like the first, 11 years of his life or some shit. Okay, sorry. We're just getting to the nitty gritty now.
Have you reviewed that, Detective?
The first underline I just did. Do you want me to check the second line as well?
I would then ask to know, I'm sorry, what section you're actually showing him that's underlined?
It's just the third paragraph.
Can you show?
Sorry, are we still with the neighbors and the hardtop cheap, or have we moved on to a different topic? Colby Ryan just walked into the courtroom wearing a gray suit. He is sitting on the second row behind Brandon. Nate says, I see one juror reviewing his notepad. Others are turning side to side in their chair. Others are looking straight ahead. Others are writing.
Your Honor, we may want to sidebar again.
All right, can I see the?
Do 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 bum 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 bum. Dut 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 dut. If Harry lived at Hogwarts, we would have never gotten the Hagrid line. Dursley's dried up, you old prune. I haven't seen Harry Potter in so long, okay, so I don't remember that. Was that in the first movie? Good. Both Melanies need to be in jail, in my opinion. And Zalema too. Melanie, Brandon Boudreaux's ex-wife, and then also Melanie, Lori Vallow's friend, Melanie, or sorry, former friend. They're still his guardians until he becomes an adult, hence why they had to move him from their house on the 18th birthday, because the charm stops existing at midnight. But what about when he's at Hogwarts? Does the charm still work when he's at Hogwarts and the aunt is living in, who knows where the fuck she's living? 1 Privet Drive. All right, I see some hand signals with the judge, taking the headphones off. Trina's doing the head wave. She got the hair flipping going on. Yeah, there's a Melanie with no E. Sorry, there's a Melanie with an I and there's a Melanie with an E. Well, I guess technically the Melanie with E also has a Melanie and also has an I in their name as well. There's a Melanie ending with an I that is Brandon Boudreaux's ex-wife, and then there's a Melanie that ends with an E that was a former best friend or close friend of Lori Vallow. Hey, Sloppy, how are you doing today? What's a quick synopsis of this case? Just focusing only on this case and none of the other bullshit that's been happening in her fucking life. She's accused of getting her brother to drive down 10 hours to Arizona to murder her niece's husband. Now, motive, we don't know. Maybe financial, maybe just wanting to get rid of Brandon Boudreaux, but that is what she's on trial for. The lady who's being accused of that, she's the one in the blue suit, and she is representing herself. That's Lori Vallow. Now, if you've heard of Lori Vallow before, it's probably because of some of the other shit that she's been into. This must be good if she's defending herself. She doesn't know what she's doing. It's more fun when you have an attorney that's like quick, on point, knows exactly what they're doing. Laura's just kind of like fumbling her way in. She's shuffling papers right now. Damn, the jury they just must be sitting around a lot.
Information that you gleaned is from Brandon Boudreaux?
In this initial investigation, yes.
Okay. And you were in constant contact with him during that time, in the early days of this investigation?
In the early days and then throughout the progression of the investigation.
And you were on a first-name basis, is that correct?
Yes.
With Brandon?
Again, that's not uncommon for me to do in really all my investigations.
So most people don't call you Detective Pillar?
Not typically. It depends on how the length of the investigation and the type of investigation that it is, but especially with victims or witnesses, I try to keep it casual.
Now, we have some ex-Mormons in the chat.
We're
Welcome.
giving back the Tesla. The window was thrown away, is that correct?
The window was
The weird cult and killing kids. Yep. She murdered 2 of her children, and she tried to attribute it to family tragedies, that it was that it was like a suicide, that it was an accidental death. Yeah, she's fucking, I don't want to say she's batshit crazy, because I do think she's like lucid, but she's just fucking stupid.
discarded.
Selfish.
And the Tesla was given back.
To Mr. Boudreaux, yes.
Did he come pick it up, or was it driven back over there?
From what I recall, it was picked up by him at the Property and Evidence Building.
And were there any further instructions with that? Like, now you can get it fixed, you can do anything you want with it? Like, how does that work?
Essentially, it was, yes, here's your vehicle returned. We'll be in contact regarding the investigation and my contact with the individuals you provided for follow-up.
Okay. And then that was the end of that contact with any of the evidence that was taken at the time?
On October 2nd, yes.
And the fragments of the projectile, those were taken in an evidence bag and put into evidence at Gilbert Police Department?
From the scene directly to the police department, yes. Or
Was
the
there-
Property Evidence Building, yes.
Was there any other evidence taken to the property evidence building?
I believe there was a cigarette butt. I believe there was multiple photographs. Other physical evidence I do not recall us taking.
You don't recall what?
I don't recall taking other physical evidence from the scene off the top of.
So a cigarette butt?
I believe a cigarette butt it was across the street, and a neighbor thought it was inconsistent with being near his house because he didn't.
She sounds way more competent than I would have suspected. Yeah, she was declared incompetent for 10 months before the Idaho trial, and they had to restore her to competency. Which I'm just like, man, I feel like she just fucking faked it. But maybe, she's all like medicated up and shit, and she's like good now. But I'm rolling my eyes here.
Smoke.
Okay. Was DNA taken off of the cigarette butt?
No, I believe we still have it retained in our Property Evidence Building.
So if you would have taken the DNA off the cigarette butt, then you might have a person who was smoking it?
We would
At the
probably
scene?
have a DNA profile of somebody who's walking down the street smoking a cigarette, yes.
So you didn't really think it was connected to this incident
Not from-
necessarily?
No,
Okay. And why was it collected?
because it was within the crime scene tape at this time, and the detective who spoke with the neighbor who provided the information thought it should be collected.
And during the course of your investigation, you never discovered that Brandon Boudreaux was a smoker, right?
No.
Or that Alex Cox was a smoker, right?
No.
Oh, you guys hear about the dad that's on the run? He killed 3 of his daughters. Fucking crazy. They're still looking for him. Fuck this guy.
Did you ask Mr. Boudreau if he owned any firearms at that time on October 2nd?
I believe so.
And do you remember what his,
Wasn't she arrested in Hawaii? I think she was arrested in Hawaii. So after they murdered a bunch of people, they went to Hawaii to get married and celebrate on their children's money, the benefits that they were getting, or their significant others.
answer was?
I don't believe he had any firearms in his possession that were his.
And you said the house was cleared. Did someone go through the house and cleared the house?
I knew this from officers telling me, and then again, I had to watch all the body-worn camera footage for media release and redaction purposes. So I learned the officers did clear the house prior to detective arrival.
And they went through the garage as well?
Yes,
And when you came up on the scene, was the garage open or closed?
the garage was open.
And do you know about what time you had arrived there?
Approximately 10:30. The call was made at approximately 9:13 in the morning, and detectives arrived approximately 10:30 a.m.
And when do you think that you left, when you initially left, did you leave your car there because you drove the Tesla? Is that correct?
When I left the scene, once we took the Tesla to the property building, yes, my assigned vehicle was left there secured. And then, again, a detective followed me to the property and evidence building where we met with property technicians upon arrival.
Melanese, that's how I tell the difference. How? Melanese. Because Melanie, that's the niece, doesn't have the E in her name. It's just the I think. Help me explain or help me understand. Didn't she mention something about that? Maybe an interview where her incompetence was just people not understanding what she was saying. Was it the interview that she did recently? I haven't seen the entire thing, I don't think. Did I? I don't think we saw the entire thing. In the body cam of her arrest in Hawaii, she's seen reading the book Visions of Glory. That's the same Doomsday book that Jodie Hildebrand, Ruby Franke, and Tim Ballard were obsessed with. Yikes. People are batshit crazy then. I don't know. I think they just so badly just want to believe that they're special. They're special. They stand out from other people, from their peers.
In your interview with Melanie, she provided you with some information and then called you back, you said, around October 14th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at that time, did you just refer her to an attorney?
I listened to her grievances, and then her concern was primarily about the custody of their children. And I referred her to speak with an attorney regarding custodial issues.
Because it's not something that you really give advice about, right? Like as the detective.
That's not my expertise, but I do encourage people to speak with attorneys who specialize in family matters.
But she came to you because were you aware that Brandon had not returned the children to her?
Sustained as relevance.
I feel like we could have done so many objection relevance. We're like objections asked and answered.
About how long was that conversation that you had with Melanie around the 14th?
10 minutes?
Was that on the phone or in person?
It was by phone.
So she was seeking help, but you really didn't have any for her, is that correct?
Sustained.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right. Redirect.
Yes, we have listened to Mormon Stories podcast. If you ever want to ruin a weekend, they do an amazing detailed breakdown on Visions of Glory. Are the authors or author of that book, are they still like relevant? Still trying to convince people of what is it like? It's like doomsday shit. All right, Lori. I swear, the jury they're probably so bored of Lori right now. Like, man, this woman's like wasting her time. Best 6-hour podcast episode ever. Well, check it out. Next time I have a long drive or I'm doing like yard work, gardening or something. Because you can just listen to it without having visuals. Probably. Sidebar. All right, state. Thank you, Trina. Wake us up.
All right, Detective, I'm going to go back to,
Lori's cousin is one of the panelists on it. Lori's cousin. Lori has a family member that has done some public appearances, but then I've seen online about the backlash about the cousin. I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's a cousin or I think it was a cousin. But yeah, I don't know too much details about Lori's family member or cousin. Megan. Yeah, Megan. Yeah. Megan seemed fine, but then I was reading the comments about Megan and people, there are people that really don't like her.
some of the questions that we started with yesterday, that's kind of also come in through today. During your investigation and through testimony you heard here, did we have a witness, Robert Abitamarco, that just said the Jeep was dark colored?
Yes,
No specifics of what color that was, just dark.
correct.
And then we've heard Brandon thought that the vehicle was some sort of camo or green color.
Yes,
And then eventually, we also learned that through statements made by Brandon Boudreau to both Officer Rob and yourself, that he believed this case was tied to an incident in Chandler. Did you learn that Lori Vallow, in fact, had a dark-colored Jeep?
yes,
And when you were able to obtain those photographs, did you learn that the Jeep was then gray?
yes,
You were asked about a probable cause statement that you wrote on November 19th of 2019. Do you recall that?
yes,
Was that after you learned about the gray vehicle, the gray Jeep that Lori Vallow had on July 11th of 2019 in Chandler, Arizona at that incident?
yes,
And in that probable cause statement, do you just in fact say that it was a dark-colored or gray-colored Jeep?
yes,
You don't actually say that a specific neighbor said that or where that information came from?
correct. I was working with multiple detectives.
So you're using all of the different information that you gleaned, which included the fact that this defendant owned a gray Jeep Wrangler with Texas license plates, and that was put into your statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you were asked a lot about the measurements of the Tesla and trajectory. Did Brandon Boudreau stop at the time of the shooting and put down a little ticky-tack marker and say, better note this for later so I can tell the detectives exactly where my vehicle was when I was shot?
No, he did not.
Did Brandon Boudreau get out of his car and go over and mark the exact end of the Jeep so that you would know exactly where that
Hi, Sarah. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. They deep dive into why people believe that batshit book.
was when he was shot?
No, he did not.
Did he go over and tell the person, whoa, I gotta wait and find out exactly how this rifle barrel is sticking out of the back of your Jeep so that later on, they'll be able to document the height, the angle, if it's up, if it's down, if it's a little to the right or left, so that later on, they'll be able to do some trajectory?
No,
So none of that happened.
none of that happened.
Were you surprised he didn't do that?
Not at all.
So you did receive information from another neighbor that they saw the Jeep in the approximate same location of where Brandon Boudreau saw it,
Yes,
parked there idling, running,
yes,
same direction as Brandon gave,
yes,
the same Texas plate as Brandon gave,
yes,
and same dark tint as Brandon said.
yes,
So when you talk about this only being Brandon, that's not accurate, right?
correct,
In fact, Robert Abitamarco said he didn't even know Brandon because he just moved in, right?
correct.
And so ultimately, when we're talking about trajectory, without knowing all of those specifics, were you aware of any way to recreate how the rifle was held, what angle it was at, when it fired that shot into the Tesla, not knowing where the Tesla exactly was either?
No, unable to determine that.
You were asked about the glass as well. When you package items, you put them in a box, a bag, a plastic bag, something like that, right? Depending on the piece of evidence you're collecting.
Yes.
Did you have any way to keep that glass from never disintegrating anymore so that it wouldn't change from the way it looked on October 2nd if you impounded it?
No, with shattered glass, it would continue to shatter. We have no way to package it to stay in its form when it's already broken.
So when you're talking about impounding that item or just throwing it away, if you put it in a box and you travel it to impound and then somebody throws it up into wherever it goes, could you say if you pulled it back out 5 years later that it
I saw that about Megan too. What did you see specifically? Yeah, I just saw the comments. I don't know if they thought that Megan was also like involved or something and decided to switch the story because it became convenient for her. I don't know why people like didn't like her, but there were people that were saying that like she was being like an opportunist or something like that. But I'm like, how? I don't know. I'm curious. But when I listened to her interview, that she's done like a couple of interviews. She seemed fine. But yeah. I didn't do like a super deep dive on Lori Vallow's like family members or anything like that, so I don't know too much.
looked exactly like it did that day when it fell onto the ground?
Absolutely not.
So is that why photographs were taken there?
Photographs, yes.
You were asked a lot about the interview of Brandon. During that audio recording, have you listened to that?
I have.
You told us you were in your vehicle, right?
That's correct.
And was your AC blowing very hard?
It was a warm day out, so yes, we were both, I was sitting in the driver's seat, he was in the passenger, and the vehicle was on with AC running.
Did Brandon talk soft at times?
Yes.
In listening to the recording, is it often difficult to hear what he's saying?
Yes.
And would you agree that the best evidence would be the actual recording versus someone's interpretation of what they believe he was saying?
Yes.
When you were considering the evidence at the scene, in addition to Robert Abitamarco, when you looked at that ring camera footage that we saw in court from Lynette Mendoza, did the black vehicle that you see appear to be consistent with a Tesla?
Yes.
Was it driving in the general direction of or towards Brandon Boudreau's home on that video?
Yes.
And was there a timestamp showing when you heard that loud bang after that vehicle went by?
Yes.
When was that?
It was at 9:13 and some seconds.
And was the 911 call made by Brandon around 9:14?
Yes.
So was that another piece of evidence that was considered by you in corroborating what Brandon had told you and what Robert Abitamarco had seen and what the physical evidence told you?
Yes.
When you were looking at the Tesla itself, you advised us that you have seen bullet holes into vehicles previously,
Yes.
and you have seen fragments of projectiles previously.
Yes.
When you looked at that bullet hole and those fragments, did you have any question as to whether or not that Tesla had been shot?
No question at all.
Did you ever recover a gun that you knew was used in this?
No.
Would the fact that it was one type of rifle over a different type of rifle change the fact that Brandon Boudreau's vehicle was shot that day?
No.
Could a handgun kill someone?
Other family thinks she wasn't around for years and is profiting off the situation. Ah, gotcha. Megan seems fine to me too, but I'm not in the family, so who knows? Gotcha. I mean, because I think from what I've heard in her interviews, all she said so far was just like her interactions with Lori when they were like younger kids, when they were closer and stuff like that. Just like Lori's like past. I don't think it was like anything that was like more of the recent news or around like the murders or anything like that. It was just like, oh, how was Lori, when she was growing up? Oh, Lori was the same way. She was always trying to get her way. She was always like manipulative and stuff like that.
Yes.
Could a rifle kill someone?
Yes.
You were asked yesterday about LPR, license plate reader. Do you recall that?
I do recall that.
And we had heard from Tom Miller about the DEA license plate readers.
That's correct.
Is that the only license plate readers that exist?
No.
In this investigation, well, the defendant had asked you about there being no other license plate readers showing this Jeep. Is that accurate?
That is not accurate.
Was there a LPR hit for the Jeep Wrangler Texas plate LWD 0997 in a city south of Rexburg, Idaho on September 30th of 2019 at about 8:10 p.m.?
Yes.
Was there an LPR hit in Idaho for the Jeep Wrangler license plate LWD 0997 on US Highway 20 near Rexburg, Idaho at 3:54 and 4:28 a.m. on October 3rd?
Yes.
Would that again be consistent with other evidence that you learned in this case from other individuals?
Yes.
You were asked a bit about a cast report done by Nick Balance. Do you recall that?
I do.
Did you create that?
I did not create that report.
Did you provide some of the cell phone records that we admitted and talked about that you obtained through search warrants to Mr. Balance?
Yes.
Oh, something tells you we're going to hear from Nick Valens today. I might miss it, though. I have to head out, like, almost now. I got some shit that I have to do. Damn it.
And did information that he gleaned from that and that he made into that report that you reviewed appear consistent, again, with a timeline of that Jeep leaving Idaho on the 30th of September and being down in Arizona on October 2nd of 2019?
Yes, it did.
Now, he hasn't, Nick Balance, I think it would have been better for him to have testified before this detective. That way he can talk about the timeline and everything, and this detective can do like a general like overview of everything. But I think his scheduling was a little bit tough to work with, so they probably had to have this guy go first and then Nick Balance whenever he's available. But I can't wait to hear from him because he's going to be, I think, the same expert witness who's going to be in the Koberger case.
You were asked about a lot of different emails and information that you had with interactions that you had with Brandon Boudreaux.
All right. Yeah, sorry, guys. So I have to pop out early today. I wish I could watch the entirety of this. I'll probably just do like tomorrow when I stream, I'll just read what I missed, I guess. Thank you, Nate Eden, for for tweeting all this. But they did break for lunch, and let me just read up until the lunch part. All right. So again, this is Nate Eaton with Nate News Now. Go follow him. Trina asked about the cast report done by FBI analyst Nick Balance. Pillar provided some information to Balance for him to use in his report. I think it's Balance with 2 L's. Trina asked if in February 2020, Pillar was investigating multiple cases. He says yes. She asked if during that time he was working with many other agencies investigating Melanie Boudreaux. He says yes. Now remember, again, the state did say that there was still an ongoing investigation into Melanie Boudreaux. This was outside the court's, outside the jury's presence. So I think a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen to Melanie Boudreaux. Is she being investigated? What's going on? Pillar was working with Rexburg Police and other Idaho law enforcement agencies in relation to this investigation. Trina asked if Pillar used information from other agencies to create warrants, investigate, etc. He says yes. Trina asked if Pillar had to rely heavily on Rexburg, again, that's in Idaho, and other agencies to obtain evidence in Idaho. So we're learning about there's something going on in Idaho, something that happened in Chandler. He says yes. Trina asked if those detectives are in a better position to discuss storage units and burner phones. So you guys were talking about there was like storage unit photos. I have not seen those yet. I wonder if they're going to show that in this trial. Pillar says yes. Trina has nothing further. Jurors have questions. Oh, jurors have questions? Wait, what are the questions? Judge reviews the juror question with defense and prosecution. White noise is played in the courtroom. Jurors question. In your experience, is it unusual for witnesses to confuse colors or not remember them? Pillar says yes. Next question. Is it whether the call Brendan made to his wife was recorded? Pillar says yes. That call is recorded. Or voicemails left explaining the situation. Brandon left a voicemail asking for a call back, but the situation was not explained on the message. Pillar was also called and spoke with Melanie. Lori has no follow-up on the juror questions. Of course, Lori's just snoozing over there. Trina asked for clarifications on why someone might not remember the exact color. Pillar says colors, are often mistaken, especially if you add a traumatic incident to the situation. I mean, that happens all the time. I was trying to look for this folder that had like these like vet documents, and I was telling my roommate that the folder was like blue, and I was thinking it was blue and red, but no, it was just blue. There's no red. I don't know why I thought there was red in there. Next witness is Vanessa Milky. I don't know how to pronounce that. Vanessa M. A forensic scientist with the Mesa Police Department, she's sworn in, describes her background and what her job entails. Trina asks what DNA is. It's considered the blueprint of life. Half comes from your mother, half comes from your father. Everyone has their own DNA profile with the exception of twins. There are different types of DNA that can be used for biological testing. If a person touches an item, they always leave DNA, Trina asks. Depending on the surface, whether the person's wearing gloves and environmental factors that could also come into play. Heat, moisture, sunlight, cleaning products, etc. A DNA profile is like a graph. Michael, I don't know. I feel like it sounds like European or German or something. Witness says that there could be known DNA profile and an unknown DNA profile. Scientist looks at 23 different locations on the DNA chromosome. When looking at a known sample, the witness is typically able to generate the DNA profile. Sometimes there isn't enough DNA present to get a profile. Sometimes there can be too much DNA present and it's too complicated. If you have a mixture, there can be too much information to separate out the different numbers to determine how many people are contributing to the sample. A major contributor is a person who's contributing to the majority of the DNA to the sample. When doing the testing, the witness doesn't know how many people contributed, but she can usually give a minimum number. There is a sex determining marker to determine whether the profile is from a male or female. The DNA process is a 4-step process. Step 1 is extraction. Step 2 is quantitation. Step 3 is inclusification. And step 4 is detection. The Mesa Police Department does DNA testing for the Gilbert Police Department. The witness was provided DNA samples from Alex Cox. The witness was asked to prepare the DNA profile from a steering wheel of the Jeep. It was a mixture. 3 minor contributors with 1 major contributor of a male origin. The minor contributors were inconclusive. Major contributor DNA profile from the swab of the steering wheel matches Alex Cox. Oh gosh, when we have that many commas, what are we in? Quintillion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Septillion? 1 in 111 septillion, I think, possibility that the DNA matches Alex's, and it did. Witness was not able to get a profile on the seatbelt buckle due to not having enough DNA to do a comparison. The passenger interior door handle was also inconclusive due to insufficient DNA. Same with the lug nuts on the tire. Now, the reason why they wanted to check the lug nuts on the tire, I think it's because, remember, the Jeep did not have a tire attached to the back of it when the shooting happened in Arizona. However, when they impounded the Jeep in Idaho a month later, there was a tire put back on to the back of the Jeep. And so they think it's possible that they took the tire off on the back of the Jeep. That way you can open the window and, properly and then shoot out of it. So whoever changed the Jeep out would have to probably touch the lug nuts on the tire. On the gear shift of the Jeep, there was a DNA mixture of at least 3 individuals of male and female origin. There was no major contributor. Alex Cox could not be eliminated as a contributor to the DNA mixture. Oh God, here's another one. Another DNA profile in the driver's side seat buckle matched Alex Cox's. 1 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 1 in 715 octillion. Match DNA is Alex's. It matched. Trina has no further questions. Lori, of course, no further questions. Jury has no questions. Lunch is in recess until 1:15. Wow, that is quite a long recess. The judge debriefs about the sidebar, says he marked an exhibit for appellate purposes. Boreski says he has a draft of final jury instructions. Ask parties to look at them. Nothing further. Oh man, are we going to get closing? I think we're going to get closing arguments this week. Well, we'll see if Lori is going to call any witnesses when the state rests their case. And I don't know. I have a feeling Lori might not do fuck all. Reptilian. I learned what a septillion is, not to be confused with reptilian. Sarah. All right, guys. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I do have to pop out today. I have errands that I've got to run. But tomorrow when I start the stream, I will rely on Mr. Nate Eaton's tweets to see what I missed during the afternoon. And I got to catch up with Karen Reed as well, because I'm also a tiny bit behind on that one. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate y'all being here. For those of you guys who are new here, hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are enjoying this content. Feel free to join the Discord as well. We have notifications that go out on the Discord and also on YouTube. But Discord notifications are more reliable in my opinion. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Have a good one. Take care. Here's the Discord link if you want to join. We do have a true crime section. If you want to post anything about this case or about any other cases that you might be interested in, let me know. There is a manhunt for a man right now who murdered his 3 young daughters, all under the age of 10 years old. So I'm keeping an eye on that one. And I'll send you guys any updates if they end up fucking catching this guy. But yeah, fuck this guy. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Oh, also, I am going to post a video about Donna Adelson because we have updates about her. And then I will post the video about us reading Lori Vallow's Idaho appeal. That was like 72 pages long. I didn't get to finish the entire thing of it, but I mostly just read the beginning and then we had to go back to this trial. So I will post the videos on those. Keep an eye on that. And guys, thank you. Have a good one. Bye, y'all. I'll miss you guys.